What's going on, friends? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. As always, I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea News, the kind of daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said. A lot of stuff's come out about Chelsea regarding the financial situation. There was an article on the Times. We're going to have a quick look shortly on Give Me Sport, an explainer courtesy of Ben Jacobs, recently published. Also, as well, Fabrizio Romano has reiterated how Jamie Gittens, Borussia Dortmund winger, is very, very high on Chelsea's list. Of course, we know we're going to go for a high-profile striker acquisition, winger, and maybe centre-back. Of course, Mark Guehi's been spoken about, and we've not really spoken about Gittens too much. So I'm going to look at his stats on X-Value, because heck, if I paid a lot of money for this, I want to use it to show you guys the data. So strap yourselves in. As always, I'll thank you for joining me and thank you for your support. If you want to support your old friend Jan, then just drop a like on the video, and if you want to subscribe, you're welcome to. And you watching, yeah, I'm speaking to you who always watches but never likes. Just drop a like. Yeah. Thanks. Alright, mate. Also, yeah, daily content on the second channel, Football Yannick, when I talk all things non-Chelsea, which you might enjoy, so consider checking that out as well. Getting loads of fresh subs on there, which is lovely. Alright, so before we speak about young Jamie Gittens and the winger situation at Chelsea, we're going to look into this. So this is coming from Ben Jacobs. Of course, many of you would have seen Chelsea announced big profits from the sale of the women's team. Some other stuff's come out since. We're going to learn a little bit now. Ben Jacobs is an intelligent chap. He's well informed, and he's good at explaining things. So hopefully we'll razz through this, learn a bit together, and then we'll look at the winger, Gittens. Chelsea Holdings 23-24 accounts now show a post-tax profit of about £130 million. Of course, compared to a net loss of nearly £90 million the previous year. In short, Chelsea are comfortably profit and sustainability rules compliant for the current 3-year cycle. But after only selling, of course, the women's team to the parent club Bluecoat 22 for a profit of £198.7 million, with a further book value of £1.3 million noted on the accounts. So yes, the sale of the women's team got us out of the naughty books. Hashtag another loophole. Chelsea's valuation of the women's team is informed by the American women's team Angel City, or NWSL franchise Angel City, which was sold for a record-breaking $250 million, which is £194 million, to Disney CEO Bob Iger in September 24. If Chelsea's £200 million valuation stands, it will set a new record for a women's team sale. I mean, to be fair, the Chelsea women's team are insane. Like, they're so good. They're on for the quad. They're on for an invincible season. They've won multiple league titles in a row. They've got their own individual independent shirt sponsor now, not from the men's team, so they're sort of trailblazing. You know, I guess you could be like, well, the Barcelona women's team are amazing. If there was ever a team to break the record, it would be them. Maybe, but, you know, it's still like women's football in England's growing all the time. Like, if there'd certainly be a candidate, Chelsea women, to set a precedent to break the record. However, the Premier League is yet to approve the transaction of fair market value, which essentially is when they look at it and say, yeah, that's worth them. Financial analysts offer different valuations for Chelsea women, which, unlike Angel City, is a non-standalone franchise. Kieran Maguire estimates them. Chelsea women is worth... Whoa. Kieran Maguire, financial expert, get this, estimates Chelsea woman is worth between 20 and 30 million pounds. Like, if he says 20, that's 10 times less the valuation. I mean, that seems mental. 20 million. Chelsea women, the potentially invincible quad winning women's team, yada yada yada, worth not even as much as Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Tricky. This could result in fair market valuation of Chelsea women proving a time-consuming process. However, it should be noticed that the Premier League also reviewed Chelsea's £40 million infant athlete front of shirt sponsorship, and at the end of a thorough fair market valuation, only the broker fee paid changed. So they looked at Chelsea's previous own valuation with infant athlete of that year sponsorship value, and they're like, yeah, like broadly that's okay. Also, by the way, what's his face, Kieran Maguire, financial expert, I'm sure he's got his own reasons for that, obviously industry guy, but the Chelsea owners, for whatever you like or dislike about them, one thing that everyone can agree on, they are money men, and they seem to just have all the financial stuff locked down and keep themselves in a safe position. So I think the perceptions differ, but they're probably looking from different angles here. Meanwhile, Chelsea's £76.5 million sale of the 2 hotels and the car park, remember, to help balance the books for the previous financial year, was only reduced by £6 million. So again, it shows that, the valuation for the infant athlete sponsor of their, own evaluation of that, the hotels, they've all been externally analysed, and broadly it's been like, yeah, fine. So I doubt they're going to look at the women's team and be like, it should be 20 million, like Maguire says. But then again, what do I know? Do you know what I mean? So also, Chelsea are in fresh financial fair play talks with UEFA. Now, to my understanding, Chelsea and UEFA have a great relationship. I'd say broadly collaborative here. The other standout headline in the Company's House documents is confirmation of ongoing talks with UEFA over FFP regulatory submissions. You guys, you'll remember this when Bowley Clear bought Chelsea. They sort of scoured as money people, as we've just been discussing. They fine-tooth combed the financials, and they found some financial irregularities from the Roman Abramovich era that they were like, ooh, especially with all this stuff going on with City and, people being analysed from previous transactions. They were like, yeah, if we're going to buy Chelsea, we're going to show you this. Like, look, we just bought this acquisition of this company. We think this is a little bit, whiffy, this period financial. We're self-reporting it to UEFA, the FA, and the Premier League. Seemingly all grateful that they self-reported, especially how UEFA hated how Man City didn't collaborate and open the books to them. Chelsea opened the books before they even asked, and they were like, look, this looks a bit funny, this wasn't us, what do you want us to do? And they were like, here's a fine, we'll pay it. Chelsea have already agreed an amicable £8 million settlement, which is said fine, but are now in further talks with UEFA. The club notes mitigating factors, particularly, of course, the effects on the club after Abramovich was sanctioned, and the UK government, of course, with all that stuff that went on. And also, by all accounts, they are happy that it was a collaborative thing, and Chelsea, like I said, Chelsea opened the books. It's been described as a broadly collaborative, exchange, and essentially it looks like it should be good there. You could go on, it goes on for more details with finances. Chelsea made loads and loads of money with player sales. Chelsea benefited off the amortization of the 8-year contracts until both UEFA and the Premier League or the FA closed the loophole. And Chelsea, of course, still gave long contracts for their own reasons, but they did benefit before the loopholes were closed financially in terms of bookkeeping for amortizing and stretching payments over a longer period. It does sound like, just to wrap up on this part of the video, I do largely have confidence in these guys when it comes to finances, at least. The jury is certainly out on whether we will reach the sporting success that Chelsea fans demand. I mean, in the men's team, of course, the women's team are brilliant. So we're gonna wait for that. But one thing they seem to know about is money, and they seem to have got the appropriate people in to analyse the landscape. So hopefully they've put themselves in a position where they can navigate finances and they won't spend out of their means. That's one thing I'm hoping for. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Let's move on. So yes, to reiterate, Chelsea will sign a right-footed, high-profile, as in not a South American 15-year-old winger in the summer. And of course, people will talk about Nico Williams. He'll be on insane wages, and Arsenal sort of looking at him, and he is a good player. There are other players as well, but of course a high-profile player who's playing a lot in the top, the top 5 European leagues in the last 3 seasons really, is Jamie Gittens. He has played. In this season, he's made 27 league appearances. Last season, 25, and the season before that, 15, and the season before that, 4. Bro is 20. So what was he? He was making appearances when he was 16 years old for the Borussia Dortmund first team. But he's got loads of experience despite being only 20. Let's have a look here. So here he is, Jamie Gittens. He is considered a 1-to-1 to explorer, which is the kind of winger that Maresca likes. Left-sided here, which makes total sense in the absence of Mudryk, probably, and in the uncertainty of Sancho. Of course, on the right, we've got Noni, who could be sold, but is still rated at Chelsea. And of course, Neto is a really, really effective right winger. And Palmer, of course, can play out there in a pinch as well. He does have Maresca all over him in terms of being a 1-to-1 player. His carries are insane on the performance chart here. It is strong with assisting, okay with passing. He's not good at aerials or recoveries. So let's have a look, shall we? Down here on personal details, he is, of course, a right-footed, left-sided player, which ticks all the boxes. 70 kilos, that would be nice. Believe it or not, I'm 6 foot. I was 72 kilos once when I was like 9 or 10% body fat. Not now, big boy. So have a look here. So these are his previous seasons where just above my head. Look, he scored 7 goals this season from 3.7 XG. He's like doubling his expected goals. So that is elite finishing. I mean, that is the opposite of Chelsea. And he's got 3 assists from 3 expected assists. So if Chelsea, he's really good at assisting as well. If Chelsea get, we all like Jackson, but if we get a more bread and butter finishing striker, he could be very much a contributing factor. I mean, to be honest, like Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, other players getting better in the Chelsea team, we've got the juice to create chances. I think again with third biggest chance creators in the Premier League, even for a poor run of form that we were bad with everything, we're still the third highest chance creators. We just need finishes. I mean, this kid looks like that sort of doubling, overperforming his XG is very, very impressive, I must say. Let's have a look at his advanced stats for further context, as we usually do here. Dribbles and cutbacks and carries are his strengths, which pretty much is what Maresca wants as a winger. He's very systemic passing, but then he likes the ball to go to the wingers and then them to do something 1v1, take on their man, which essentially largely is dribbling and 1-2s and cutbacks. So this kind of player is what he would want. Let's have a look at his stats here. So shooting goal added per XG was his strongest metric here. He's in the top 16%. Remember, he's 20 years old, yeah? Chance creation, really, really strong. Probably most notably here, his expected offensive value added, which of course adds passing, dribbling, just helping the attack. Very, very strong indeed. And progression, again, look, man, his progression here, expected threat from carries, which is dribbling, top 1% in Europe. So he's very, very strong. And in terms of the type of player he is, 1-to-1 explorer and expected carries, he's up there with Coman and Wirtz. Actually, they're all the same, 0.9. So this he is that style of player, young player, playing for a Dortmund, by the way, that are not doing well this season. Let me just double check where they are. Yeah, so I keep forgetting, them and Milan, AC Milan, are both really underperforming. Borussia Dortmund are 10th, guys, yeah? And remember, there's 18 teams in the Bundesliga, so Dortmund are in the bottom half of the league table currently in the Bundesliga, playing really, really badly. And in a bad team, he's still got 10 league goal involvements, which is strong. And he just looks like a good player, man. And to be honest, I think our biggest problems are immaturity a lot of the time, needing to development, needing self-belief, but also striker, goalkeeper. Now, goalkeeper could be fixed, or at least semi-fixed, with Georgi Petrovic coming back in. And we're going to buy a striker. And we'll learn more about who's available, out of the injured triangle of Reece James, Fofana and Lavia. Looks like, touchwood, we've sorted out Reece James. We'll learn more about Lavia and Fofana and what to expect, because they're both great players. But we just need that option on the left. I have a feeling, my gut instinct, that Mudryk will be suspended. And I've got a little bit of like a theory here on this, because I think that I've heard everyone, when they speak about it, they're like, your Matt Laws, your guys from The Athletic, they're always like, I've got to be careful. We've got to be careful when we talk about this. Careful when we talk about this. Yada, yada, yada. And I'm going to be careful when I talk about this, but I'm just a speculative Chelsea fan, like the rest of you gang. There's no legal obligation from either individual, club, or governing body, whatever, to state he's been banned or not. Just they've both come back negative, and certainly for a certain amount of time. I wonder if they all know it's negative, and I just think maybe, I'm speculating here, I'm guessing, I really need to put that out now, this conspiracy theory. I'm guessing that the B samples come back positive, which is, and it's just always, melts my brain when a test comes back positive, because it's a negative thing, a test coming back positive, but he comes back and is tested positive for doping the B sample. Very, very rarely the B sample comes back and says otherwise, yeah. So, and if it did say otherwise, I think we would have heard, like, oh, it's negative, it's come back negative, he's fine, let's reintegrate him, Chelsea, for the run-in, because he was doing bits in Europa, he's a good, Europa Conference League, he's a good option. So I do think, personally, I'm speculating, I'm guessing that he's essentially going to be in trouble, right? And he could be taking it to the Court of Arbitration of Sport to try and get it at least reduced, or if not lifted entirely, saying he unknowingly took it. My guess is he will get a ban. He'll get the ban reduced because he didn't take the substance in England, and it was international duty and it wasn't his normal people, and he can say he unknowingly took it. So I just have a feeling, because of the premise with Pogba, it did get reduced. So I reckon he might get like an 18-month ban. But I reckon Chelsea, because we're in such a precarious position, look, if we were, I don't know, let's just make a real particular scenario where we were like, had nothing to play for, but everything was kind of okay. Like, we won the cup, like Newcastle won the League Cup, and we've qualified for the Conference League, but we can't qualify for Europe in the league, and we're out of other competitions. Like, the season's dead, but it's not entirely miserable. They might be like, right, Mudryk's been banned. So I'm just trying to find a scenario, where basically you're not playing for something, because we're playing for something, and that is the Conference League, yeah, and top 5. Huge in terms of the financial implications, the allure for the players, Champions League, the negotiation for a long-term sponsor, absolutely gargantuan, massive. They don't want any distractions, so they're like, we are not going to create this Mudryk conversation now. For Maresca, for the team, for him, we've got no legal obligation to talk about it. Let's just say it's on ice and it's provisionally, and let's wait until the season's ended. That's my guess, yeah. And the fact how, the stories are leaking to agents and Romano that we are just looking at left-sided, right-footed wingers says it all to me, for me personally. Yes. So that's what I think. Let me know what you think, guys. Please do leave your comments down below. What do you think of Jamie Gittens? My Mudryk conspiracy theory. It's not really a conspiracy theory, just a theory. And the finances, etc. As always, I very much appreciate your support. We're nearly at 192,000 subscribers. So close. I sort of feel like I've reached a point now where I sort of like treading water. Like some people aren't subscribing, which is fine, because after a while, people would have been subscribed to me for 6 years, and there is a natural current of people that haven't watched for a while and will unsubscribe, and there's probably a natural pool of Chelsea subscribers that that may subscribe, and it's kind of tough to reach 200,000. I think Nini's done it, I know George has done it, and and maybe they're just more popular, probably are just more popular than me, but I'm not sure I'll be able to do it. So I'm very interested and seeing if we can get over the line. So if you do want to subscribe, I'd appreciate that. Only if you want to, though. Anyway, I've rambled enough. I'll see you after the game tomorrow. Keep it locked, friends. Peace.